I think it would be disingenuous not to acknowledge that we do dress for other people. When you put on something, you look at yourself, you think, are people gonna laugh at this? Will they think I look good in this? Will they think I look ridiculous? And that's why we have home clothes and outside clothes. I know that I wouldn't go outside in my old oversized t-shirts and shorts. You know, you want to look a certain way because you know that people treat you a certain way based on what you look like and what you're wearing, right? So it's easy to assume the intentions behind why someone is wearing a certain thing. It's like, why are you wearing that? Do you want people to look at you a certain way? And most times, yes, people wear certain aesthetics to signal which group they identify with. I think people are hiding the actual feelings behind the excuse of modesty. A lot of times, there's jealousy behind that because it takes a certain amount of confidence in your looks and in your body to wear certain clothing. And when people don't have that confidence and feel like they can't wear the same clothes and look just as good, they will discourage you. And it also triggers feelings of lust for them, which they don't want to deal with. And since they don't want to deal with their own shame, they project it outward. Instead of admitting their own lust, they will call the person wearing the clothes lustful. We often hear statements like, leave something for the imagination. Why do you want to imagine that? Matthew 5 verse 28, but I tell you, anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Jesus puts the responsibility of your lust on you. It's not the responsibility of someone to not tempt you. Resist the devil and he will flee. It's your responsibility to control yourself. We all have free will, but we also have a responsibility to act appropriately. And that's why you cannot go outside naked, because you would get arrested for public indecency. What you decide to put on or not put on, it does affect other people. And there are things that you wouldn't want to expose to kids, for example. Dress codes exist for a certain reason, and you are expected to dress a certain way at work, at school, and you respect that, right? For the same reason, churches are allowed to have their own dress code, because the purpose of us being there is to worship God and to seek God, not to show off our wealth with branded clothing, not to show off how tea our bodies are. So people are well within their rights to complain if your manner of dress is distracting, but people do take it too far, to the point where it seems more like control. There's also a lot of focus more on women, especially women with certain body types, which makes me question, do we really have a problem with the clothes or the body wearing the clothes? Curvy woman can wear the same thing as a skinny woman, but the curvy woman gets more judgment. And let's be honest, guys, people say that clothes like this are fake modesty because yes, you are covered up, but it's so tight that it's showing off your body. And I will say that we cannot make assumptions on people's intentions and treat them harshly because of those assumptions. Jesus does not want us to judge and condemn each other. At the end of the day, people wear whatever they want to wear as long as it's not so extreme that it can cause distress in other people. Modesty is so subjective because to me, something like this is modest enough, but to somebody else, it's not. But it can be a slippery slope, and modesty has been used as a tool to erase people's identities and free expression. Would you say somebody dressed like this is immodest or promiscuous? Probably because they're showing some skin, maybe they want to be looked at as enticing or attractive. But would you say the same thing about somebody dressed like this? Do you see why it can get tricky? This is a cultural outfit, and it's very common in Africa to see traditional clothes that look like this. I'm not gonna go into the specifics of culture, but these are usually worn at events that celebrate chastity, among other things. These are very respectable clothes, so as you can see, modesty is a very subjective topic. Our idea of modest clothing is a European concept, or at least it was very heavily influenced by it. People also argue that modesty is mentioned in the Bible, but it is worth looking at those scriptures. 1 Timothy 2 verse 9 to 10. I also want the women to dress modestly, with decency and propriety, adorning themselves not with elaborate hairstyles or gold or pearls or expensive clothes, but with good deeds appropriate for women who profess to worship God. People always zero in on that modesty word when reading this one, but completely ignore the not with elaborate hairstyles or gold or pearls or expensive clothes. And this right here should tell you that Paul was talking about not showing off. It was more so to check your heart and intentions when you dress. Are you dressing extravagantly with all the bells and whistles to show off your wealth, to be noticed, to take all the attention? So it's not So it's not more so about showing off your body. It's about checking your heart in. It's about checking whether your heart is in the right place, and it's focused on seeking God instead of trying to get attention in a place of worship. 1 Corinthians 11 verse 2 to 16. I praise you for remembering me in everything and for holding the traditions just as I passed them down to you. But I want you to realize that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is man, and the head of Christ is God. But every man who prays or prophesies with his head covered dishonors God. But every woman who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head. It is the same as having her head shaved. If a woman does not cover her head, she might as well have her hair cut off. But it is a disgraceful woman to have her hair cut off or her head shaved. Then she should cover her head. This one requires a lot of context. In first century Corinthian culture, head coverings were visible social markers of modesty, marital status, and respectability. Uncovering or shaving a woman's head was tied to shame or public disgrace. As you can see, none of these are telling women to dress a certain way, not to tempt men. They are not saying anything about leave something to the imagination. In fact, there's another verse that shows you how you should act, which is Job 31 verse 1. I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a young woman. You see here, Job was offering his final defense by affirming his integrity and moral purity before God. He took proactive action to guard his thoughts and desires at their source before sin could take root. He is responsible for his thoughts and feelings. He's not putting it on women to manage his lust for him. And that's how we should look at it. At the end of the day, God gave us all free will, and everyone should express themselves however they want to, granted that it's reasonable. And that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, corrections, comments, or want to add anything, you're welcome to talk about it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.